Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be showing you guys how I made this simple halter neck top with a cold shoulder flounce sleeve. So it's a very detailed tutorial and very beginners friendly. So I achieved this style using about 2 yards of Ankara fabric. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find it useful, leave a comment and subscribe to my. So this is the fabric I'll be working with for this tutorial, and I have my tape rule, my scissors and my rulers. So I'll be drafting first on my pattern paper before I transfer to my fabric for more accuracy. So I'm going ahead to mark out my basic vertical measurement, and the first line is my shoulder line, and then from my shoulder, my paper is in a fold of 2 as you can see, and then from my shoulder line to my bust point is 11 inches, and to my waist measurement is 16.5 inches, and then the full length of this top is 20 inches. So I'll go ahead now and place my shoulder to shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8 inches for me. And then from that point, I'll come down by my round armhole measurement divided by 2, which is 9 inches. I'll connect the 2 points together, and then I'll further extend the line to form my chest line. So the next thing to do now is to mark the neckline. So the wideness of the neckline I'm working with is 3 inches, and the depth of the neckline is also 3 inches. So I'll mark it there and just use my curved ruler to connect the points together. So this is what we have. So on this armhole line, I'll come down by 1 inch to place my shoulder slope, and then I'll connect it to meet the width of my neckline this way. And then I'll take the midpoint of this line, which is 4 inches. I'll mark my bust point on the chest line, which is 10.5 inches, and also come in on this line by 0.5 inches. So I'll use my curved ruler to connect the 3 points together to form my armhole curve. So after connecting, this is what we have. So the next thing to do is to place the nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2, which is 4 inches for me. So this part of this video is going to be a bit fast because I'm just dropping out a simple princess dart bustier. So I don't have to explain all over again. I have several videos on how to draft a princess dart bustier I'm going to leave in the description box. So if you're a beginner, you want to learn how to make a princess dart bustier, you can go ahead to watch those other videos that I will link in the description box. So I'll just go ahead now to draft out my basic princess dart bustier. So after doing that, the next thing is to place the round body measure. So the next thing to do is to place the round body measurement. So on the bust line, I'll place my round bust measurements divided by 4, but 1.5 inch for seam allowance. And on the waistline, I'll place my round bust measurements divided by 4. I'll add the 2 inches for that and add 1.5 inch for seam allowance. And then on the full length of my top, I'm going to place my round hip measurement divided by 4. I'll add the 2 inches for that and I'll add the seam allowance, and then I'll mark it. Then I'll take my ruler to connect the point. So I've connected the bust line down to the waistline. So I'll just use my hip curve to connect the waist down to the full length of my top. So this is what we have. So before we cut it out, I'm going to come over to the neckline and just come down by 2 inches here. So you can decide to come down by 1 inch depending on the space you want between your front neckline and your back neckline. So I'm still going to replace these 2 inches when I'm cutting my neck band, the band that will be on the neck. So I'm going to connect that 2 inches now and blend it into my armhole this way. So after connecting the 2 inches down to meet the armhole area, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to be cutting out this upper part of my top. I won't be needing it anymore because it's a halter neck top. I'll just blend it in now and then I'll cut it out and show you guys. So let's go ahead now to cut it out. So watch closely to see the part I'm keeping and the part I'll be discarding. So I'll be discarding that other part. Then I'll just cut the remaining part out this way. I'll open up my dart area this way. Then I'll cut out that point. So after cutting out, this is what it looks like. So I'll set this aside now while we work on the back panel. So for the back panel, I'm gonna head to cut out the basic measurements I'll be needing, the vertical measurement. So I'll go ahead now to place my darts. So I'll also be making use of princess darts for the back part of this top. So I'm just drafting out the simple princess darts um for the back point. So this is what we have after drafting. So I'll go ahead to place the round body measurement. So the back panel also has a zipper allowance at the back, as you can see. And then I'll connect the points together this way. So I'll come over to the neckline like I did for the front panel and also come down by 2 inches. Notice that the depth of the back neckline is 1.5 inches against 3 inches for the front panel. So I'll go ahead to connect it down to meet my chest line this way. So this is basically all. So I'll remove my zipper bulging allowance and then I would cut it out. So to eliminate any zipper bulge, I'll come over to the waistline and just come in by 0.5 inches this way. And then I'll take my ruler and just connect the 0.5 inches down to meet the closed angle of my paper this way on the lower part, and also connect it to meet the upper part of my paper this way. So this is going to eliminate any form of zipper bulging at the back. So let's go ahead now to cut out this pattern. So this is all for the back panel. The next thing to do now is to cut it out. So I'll cut out this point when cutting out. So I'll just go ahead now to cut it out. So after cutting out, I'm going to use the patterns to cut on my fabric, both the front and the back patterns. So I'll come here now and take out my zipper bulging allowance, and then I'll open up the dart area. So after cutting, this is what we have. So I'll use this to cut on my fabric and then I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So I've used the patterns to cut out my fabric and this is what it looks like. So I also added half an inch to all the dart areas for the joining allowance so that it won't change the size of my dart points. So this is what we have. So I won't be using lining for this tutorial. I'll be finishing up with my bias strip. So I'll remove the patterns and I'll work on the fabric. So after taking off the pattern papers, the next thing to do is to join the pieces of fabrics together. So I'm going to open up the front panel this way, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine and join the pieces together. I'll place them right side facing each other this way, and then I'll go ahead to stitch it all the way down to the top using my ½ inch seam allowance, or you can start from the upper part and then fit in the fabric and then stitch it all the way down. So I'll repeat the same thing for the back panels. I'll join the fabrics together and then I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. So after joining the dart areas together, this is what it looks like. So I won't be padding the front area of this princess dart because it's just a simple halter neck top. I also went ahead to join the sides together using my 1.5 inches seam allowance. I joined the front and the back panels together after joining the dart. So the next thing to do now is to cut out the flounce for our sleeve. So the first thing you want to do is to measure what you have on this area. So I'll take the front panel first. So I have about 11.5 inches here, and then on the back panel I have 12 inches here. So let's say I have about 24 inches in total. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys now how to cut the flounce that you'll be attaching to the sleeve for that halter neck design. So this is the fabric I'll be working with. So let me go ahead to open it up, and then I'll fold it into two this way. And then since I'm cutting for the two sleeves, I'm going to fold it into four in this triangular shape. I hope you guys can see what I did here. So I just folded it to form this triangular shape this way. So this is what we have. So I'll be cutting the two sleeves together. So remember we measured 24 inches for this armhole area. So I'm going to go ahead and divide that by 2 so that I'll have 12 inches on both sides when I open up. So I'll be using this flexible ruler to form my 12 inches curve, just to give it a perfect curve. So my ruler is 12 inches on fold this way, and then I'll go ahead to just trace it out. And then from this upper part I'm going to take 3 inches. So I'm just working with the amount of fabric I have. So if you have a bigger fabric, you can make your flounce bigger than mine. I'm working with 3 inches on this side, and then I'll come again and take 3.5 inches. So I want it to get wider as it goes down. So I'll come here, I take 5 inches. I'll take 5 inches on this side. I'll keep taking 5 inches, and then on the place I want to be the longest, I'm going to take 6 inches. So if it depends on how full you want your own flounce to be, you can make use of more fabric for it. The next thing to do now is to cut it. So I'll go ahead to cut it out this way. And then I'll cut the center opened. So after cutting, I'm going to split the upper part open. This is the part that will be around the neckline and the shoulder area. So I'll split it open this way. And then you can see I have two pieces of my flounce cut out already. This is what it looks like. So it's going to give you that accurate 24 inches. So let's go ahead to attach it. So to attach the flounce, go ahead to open up your top this way. So this is the armhole area. So you're working on the right side, just like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to place my flounce on these points this way and make sure to stop on the point where I join my princess dart. So that part is going to be where my hand is going to pass through. So just go ahead and use my pins to hold it down. I'll hold it down to the point where I join my princess dart. So I'm going to stop here, and then I'll go ahead to just notch that point. Then I'll come over to this front panel and also hold it down this way, down to the point where I joined the dart. So the opening under is going to be where the hand will pass through while wearing your top. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. So the first thing I want to do is to finish up this opening. So I'll take my bias strip now and use it to turn over this point. From this point I notched, I'm going to stitch my bias strip down all the way around it using 1/2 inch down to the other notched point, and then I'll use it to turn it over. So when I'm done doing that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after using my bias strip to turn over that point, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and iron it out. So remember that we won't be using a lining for this top. I'll be finishing up with a bias strip. So coming back to this point here, we used our pins to hold. This point we held down with our pins. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch it down on that point. So at this point, if you are turning over with a lining, you should have gone ahead to join the lining pieces together, and then you place it on your top in your fabric to turn it over to the right side. But it's the same thing I'm going to explain with my bias strip. So go ahead to stitch down the point you used your pins to hold all the way down to where you notched. So stitch it down that way. So remember that this is the right side of this top, and the edges are going to look rough if we don't finish it. So after stitching that, I'm going to place my bias strip on it again this way, and then I will stitch it all the way down. When I get to this point, I'm going to lay it flat. I'm going to lay it flat this way. Remember, we have to still finish the armhole area, like the under of your arm. We have to finish that area. So I'm going to use my bias strip to finish it. So I'll place it that way after stitching down the flounce. I'll place my bias strip on it this way. I'll place it on this way. I'll lay this point flat when I get there, and then I'll stitch it all the way around it, just like you want to finish up a neckline with bias strip. That's what we're trying to do here. I'll stitch it all the way down using 1/2 inch, and then when I'm done, I'm going to use it to turn it over to the wrong side, just like I did with this lower part. I hope you guys understand. So if you're working with a lining, you're just going to place your lining on it just like the bias strip, and then stitch it all the way around that area and use it to turn it over to the wrong side. Use it to turn it over. So I also finish up the lower part of my flounce with my bias strip, and then I'll do it for the other sleeve, and then when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after attaching the sleeves and finishing up, this is what it looks like. So you can see what I was trying to explain here. So I'm going ahead to finish it all the way around the armhole, and you can see it looking all neat on the wrong side. So this is what you should have as well. So everything is well finished. The next thing we want to do is to fix the band for the neckline. Before I do that, I'll go ahead and trim out the excess flounce I have at the upper part of my top. Just trim it out for me using the same shape of my neckline this way. So let's go ahead to measure out the neckline. So I'll just use my bending ruler to read the accurate measurements. But if you don't have a bending ruler, you can just curve your tape rule this way to get the accurate measurement. And then I'll measure what I also have at the back panels. I have 3 inches here on this side, and I have 3 inches on the other side. I have 3 inches on the other side, so that is 13 inches altogether. So remember while we were drafting our pattern, we took out 2 inches from the front panel neckline and 2 inches from the back panel neckline, making 4 inches. So I'm going to add that 4 inches to my 13 inches, making 17 inches plus 1 inch for ease. So I've cut out the fabric I'll be using for the band on the neckline, and it's in a fold of two. I had my gum stay on it and also folded in the edges this way. So the height of the fabric is 1.5 inches. So by the time I attach it to my top, I'll be left with about 1 inch. So the first thing you want to do is to fold it into two equal parts this way. So after folding into two, to avoid any gaping on the neckline, I'm going to just go ahead and come over to the closed angle of the fold, closed angle, and take 0.5 inches. This is just going to help your turtleneck to sit very well on the neck. And then I'll slant it to meet the lower, the opened angle this way, and then I would cut it out, forming a slant. I'll cut it out. So this is what we have after cutting out, you can see. And then the next thing to do is to go ahead to fold it into two equal parts this way and take the center point. So I'll use my chalk to just mark out the center point on both sides. And then I'll get my top and fold the neckline, the front neckline into two equal parts to get the center point. And then I'll go ahead to just form a notch there. I'll form a notch. So right now I'll match the center point of my top, the point I notched to the point I marked on my band. I'll place the center points facing each other this way. So place the open angle of your band on your neckline this way, just as you can see me doing in the video, the open angle of your band, and then use your pins to hold it down this way, starting from the center point. Make sure your flounce is also pinned with. So after holding it down, this is what it looks like. So I'll go ahead and stitch it all the way down using 1/2 inch. And then when I'm done, I'm going to take the back panel this way, and then I'll place it on it, and also use my pins to hold it down. So when you do that, you notice that the space you have in between the front and the back is that 2 inches that you took out. So I'll do the same thing for the other side. I'll cross it this way down to meet the other side of the neckline, and then I'll use my pins to hold it down. So after holding it down, I'm going to go ahead to stitch it all the way down. I'll stitch it all the way down using 1/2 inch. I'll close up those opened areas this way, and then when you are done, you notice that you have the same 2 inches on this connecting band, the band connecting the front and the back together. So you have that same 2 inches you took out, or whatever inches you took out. So when I'm done doing that, I will show you guys the finished product of the top. So after inserting the neckband, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna head to stitch it all the way around it. So this is how the top came out, and you can see how beautiful it looks. I also finished up the lower part and inserted the zipper for the back panel. So this is where we'll be ending the video for today, guys. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video.